Hey everyone, I'm here to talk about the Polish and Poise project, specifically the book of Polish for young men and the book of Poise for young women. Now, let me tell you what it's about. It's a two-in-one. It's a book that you can actually read as well as a planner. Now, despite having different titles and different covers, so what I have here is the cover for the Book of Poise. If you want to see the cover for the Book of Polish, that's on our website. But despite having different titles and different covers, they're literally the same book. It just has a different aesthetic for a specific audience that it's targeting. So let me go ahead and talk about the planner part. And this is where I get into show and tell, where I'm starting to really show you the inside of the book. Now, first, it's spiral bound, just to let you know, and the pages inside are premium for wear and tear. It's also undated, so that means that as soon as you get it, you can start using it. So no more wasted months or weeks, things like that. You don't have to worry about starting it at a particular time of the year. You can use it as soon as you get it. So let's take a look inside. There is a short how to use this book, which goes into more detail than what I'm going to go into here. But let's get to the first part. So you see here, semester info. Now, this is the page that allows you to capture everything you need up front. So not only just your schedule, but also all of your professor hours, their office hours, when to catch them, things like that. So no more do you have to really focus on logging into Blackboard, trying to see, click on this class, let me find this information for that professor, click on that class, or go into this syllabus and that syllabus. You've got it all right here where you can capture it in one place. It also contains a few dates at the bottom that you probably don't think about that you might want to capture in your planner as well. Next, and this is where the monthly breakdown for the planner part comes into play. So you start off with lessons. Now, this book is it's a 7x10, so it's not quite the same size as a full sheet of paper, a typical sheet of paper, but it's still big enough for you to be able to use, especially if you write large. The writing is also not your standard size, so we want to make sure that any and everyone can use this book and capture everything that you need to capture and read what you need to read. So, but all the lessons are a page long, and they're short bite-sized lessons. We did that intentionally because we know taking all this content, and if you were to put it in a separate book, reading a book on business etiquette probably is not going to be at the top of your list. And that's what these lessons are about. There are 8 business etiquette topics that span 11 lessons. So we get it. You're busy. You got a lot going on. You might be overwhelmed, but we wanted to make sure we got that information to you. And so it was intentional to keep the lessons very short and sweet for you. And we start you off each month with a business etiquette topic. And within each month, you'll find a couple of lessons. So there'll be a couple of topics for each month you'll find. So here is where your first lesson starts. And you go through, as I mentioned, a couple of lessons. And then at the end of the lessons, you'll find a place to reflect on the lessons. So that could be where you jot down questions you thought of, or things that you want to look into a little bit more, because again, these are bite-sized lessons. And so there may be some things you have questions about later on. After the lesson reflection, you'll find an assignment tracker. This assignment tracker can be not only to capture your assignments, but also your projects, your tests, quizzes, things like that. You'll write down when is something due. You'll write down, did you turn it in? And what was the grade for it? And so you'll have enough space to capture the amount of assignments that you would normally get within a given month. And then after that is when you hit your month at a glance. And so what I want to show you here is right at the top of your month at a glance, you'll find a key takeaway. And that key takeaway is from the lessons. So for each time you have a lesson, depending on the lessons, it might be one key takeaway or it might be a couple of key takeaways. But you'll always find a takeaway at the top of your month at a glance. We do that because, there's a saying that you have to hear something 7 times in order for it to stick. And so we're trying to find ways, as many places as possible, we tried to find ways to ensure we were emphasizing the lessons over and over again for you. So there's your key takeaway from the lessons. And then there's a typical month at a glance. But here I want to show you one of my favorite parts. This is called like your dining dollars tracker. So if you're a college student, and I'm not sure if every school calls it dining dollars, but it's that small allocation of money that goes along with the number of meals you're able to get within a week. So for some plans, let's say you have a 19 meals you're able to get within a week, but you also have a certain amount of dollars that you can use over the course of a semester. And you need to manage that, because once it's out, it's out. So this is where you would capture how much of those dining dollars you spend on a weekly basis if you started tapping into it too soon. Or if you don't want to track that, let's say you have a budget. You can use this to track your budget. Or if you don't have a budget and you know you need one, and especially because you spend a lot, then you can also use this to track how much do you spend at any given time. So, and I'll go into more details about that in the next couple of sheets. But that's where you would capture how much you've spent, whatever it may be, budget, dining dollars, etc., weekly. After your month at a glance is when you get to your week at a glance. Remember that key takeaway I told you about? Here's another key takeaway. And we do that again at the beginning of every month. So at the beginning of every month and at the beginning of every week. So you'll see key takeaways along the way throughout your entire planner to emphasize the lessons over and over. At the top, the first thing you're doing when you start your week, you're going to set your priorities and goals. That's the first major thing you do. And then after you set your priorities and goals, here's your to-do list. Here's a notes area, and here's another one of my favorite sections. It's called the next week's glance. And those are those things that come up and you say, oh, I need to make sure I take care of that next week, or I got to look into that next week thing. Just jot those down, and you never know, those might be the items that become next week's priorities and goals. So we have a small space here to capture those things that are very specific to keeping your eye on for next week. After that, we have a moment of reflection, meditation, gratitude. That can be just an area where once a week you take the time to write down what are you thankful for, or you're reflecting on something, meditating, self-care moment, however you want to use that space. It's just a visual suggestion to take that time for yourself. And then under here, we have some usual reminders. Reminders can span whether it's getting your exercise, your water intake, did you call your family, checking your emails, checking with your professors or advisor. And again, if you're not a student, it can be checking with your supervisor, checking with your mentor, with your sponsor. There's always someone that maybe you could be establishing communication and developing a rapport with. So these are just a couple of reminders, and there are a few other reminders down here too that are useful for both either students or young professionals. And then here we have the actual week at a glance, and we make sure we dedicate space for each and every day. Not like your typical planner where Monday through Friday has even space, and then Saturday and Sunday you get this little bitty tiny space. Adulting is hard, life is hard, so we want to make sure that you're able to have enough space to capture what you need to get your entire life together, because that's the whole point of this book, to help you get your entire life together, a season at a time. And so next there, you see right here, these little bitty boxes for each day. That's where you capture the spending that I mentioned earlier on the month at a glance. You will capture it here. So for each day, if you spent some money, so whether it's you tracking your dining dollars, or you're tracking your budget, or you just want to track your spending habits in general, there's a box for that. And after you've gone through the entire week, tally it up, and then you go back to that month at a glance and you capture it here. So week 1, that's how much you spent. When you get to week 2 and you do the same thing, come back to the month at a glance, put that number in for week 2. And as you go through the entire month, total it up, you'll see what was the trend for that particular month. And then you can make whatever self-correction you need to make, should you do so. And then that's really it, because that's the structure of the planner for each month. You'll get a couple of lessons, you get space to do a lesson reflection, you get an assignment tracker, and then you get the month at a glance, then the week at a glance, week at a glance, week at a glance, lather, rinse, repeat. That's the structure of the planner. So, and as I mentioned earlier, when I mentioned the semester page, this planner is built for to take over the course of an entire semester, basically. So you're looking at about 5 months roughly. And we do that because we want to sort of have the planner kind of help you, again, structure yourself and start developing habits within a small window to really kind of, again, evaluate, self-correct, and really get used to it. So we're working with you, or the planner is working with you, and it will work if you work it, if you use it, a semester at a time, a season at a time. And there you have it. That's the gist of the book and the planner put together. It's a 2-in-1. You can find the all the information for this in order to purchase it on our website. If you want to purchase one copy, it's $25. If you want to purchase 2 copies, it's $40 total. So, and this is the weekend for our pre-orders. So if you get your pre-order in between now and Monday, you will actually get another gift inside with your book purchase. So again, I'm going to say this a little bit slower. Pre-order is this weekend and it ends on Monday. If you get your pre-order in for the book this weekend, you will also get a small thank you gift included with your purchase. So there you have it. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Go to our website, thepopeinstitute.com. Again, that's thepopeinstitute.com. Click on our store and you'll find the planner there. Also, if you're interested in any merchandise for the Polish and Poise project, so whether you want to polish and poise or just the book of polish, the book of poise, any of that type of merchandise, there's a link for that as well. And if you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to us. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And again, reach out if you have questions, because we're here to help you and be of service to you. Have a great day.